everything changes. Yep, a very gloomy, dreary, nasty, dirty, crazy day outside of the house. No good. And that's about how the day has gone in the reseller world and business world. But I gotta do it, guys. I keep this channel as reselling, business focused as possible. But I think today's top news story, if you haven't heard about it, live under a rock, is a perfect opportunity to address taxes for business owners, especially small business owners like you and I that work every day just to make a little bit of money and run our businesses and live our lives. Today's Donald Trump not paying taxes lesson is perfect for us to discuss. And I'm going to do it inside because I don't want to get wet. But I'm going to tell you guys that I'm going to do this video with a complete, unbiased opinion, facts, and a breakdown of how taxes work for small businesses and big businesses like Trump Incorporated. And I'm going to do it based on my observations, experiences, and opinions. I am not a licensed accountant or tax lawyer, so please keep that in mind while I'm doing the rest of the video, that I'm not giving you legal advice. So let's go inside and I'll break this down for you guys. Hopefully it makes sense. And no matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, a Trump lover or a Trump hater, I don't care about all that right now. Have an open mind and listen to what I'm going to tell you. Let's flip over and do it. All right, so here goes. Today's news is that was it the Washington Post or the New York Times? I think the New York Times, somebody leaked information regarding President Donald Trump's tax return, stating that 10 of the last 15 years, he has not paid any federal income tax, and that out of several of those years, he only paid $750. I think it was 2 of the 5 years that he paid. The total was only $750. Now, initially, Trump came out and said that these are lies, that this is fake news, false information, and I don't know. You don't know, I don't know, none of us know. We're not his accountant, we're not the IRS. So the first thing I do have to say is everything that's being stated in the news is alleged. And so we have to admit that. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. It is alleged. Whether it's true or not and what that means, we have to wait and see. And again, none of us are lawyers or financial advisors or IRS agents or CPAs. So that's kind of why we need to keep our opinions to ourselves. Everyone has an opinion. You're free to have that and express it, but just know that that's not fact. Okay, so how do taxes work for businesses where somebody could make a lot of money and not pay taxes? We'll take Jeff Bezos, for example. It's reported that Amazon makes billions of dollars in profits, which is true, and that they don't pay any taxes. So how is this possible? How is this legal? And is it legal? Are they getting away with something? Are they cheating the system? And the answer is no. They're absolutely taking advantage of tax laws and tax loopholes. Now, before we go any further, many, not all, but many of those tax laws and loopholes that are still in place to this date were implemented under a Democratic-controlled White House under President Bill Clinton during the mid-90s. That's true. You can look up a lot of those tax laws, 92s, 93s, 96s, whatever year it was. I believe he was 92 to 96, 96 to 2000. So somewhere in those mid-90s is when a lot of those came about. But that's neither here nor there. They're here, they're allowed, and they're legal. We don't have to agree with them. Look, I use a lot of tax laws every year to get my tax obligation down as low as possible. There's no one on the face of this planet, at least not with a sane mind that's a business owner, that says, I want to pay more taxes. There's only one reason you would want to pay the maximum amount of taxes, and that's if you're trying to get approved for a loan for a house or a car or some kind of thing like that, which is what I did this year. I absolutely could have legally paid less taxes than I paid this year. I chose not to. Why? I didn't want to take the deductions, because when you take deductions, it shows your income is a lower amount of income. That way, you don't pay as much, but you can't prove as much income. So when the mortgage company pulls your mortgage loan, they say, well, it looks like you only made 100 grand. And you go, no, I made 150, but I deducted all this stuff off. And they go, we have to go, after deducted income, the taxable amount, not the amount you made before deduction. So if you take all those deductions that you're legally allowed to make and you send the IRS less money, the mortgage company is going to approve you for a smaller loan. So because I wanted to get approved for a bigger loan, I went ahead and just paid the taxes on pretty much the full amount. I did take some deductions, but not a lot, because I wanted to pay more taxes. That sounds crazy, but any other year, I absolutely would not do that. So that works the same for Donald Trump and for anybody else that's a business owner, Jeff Bezos at Amazon, who happens to hate Donald Trump. They don't want to pay taxes if they absolutely can help it, or the least amount. Now remember, guys like Donald Trump and Jeff Bezos, guys with millions and millions of dollars, they're not worried about getting approved for a $500,000 mortgage loan, right? They don't care about a $100,000 car loan. They'll just buy that in cash. Or they'll just go to all the banks that they have relationships with who don't care about their tax returns. They're just like, you're Donald Trump and I'll loan you whatever you want. You're Jeff Bezos and we'll loan you whatever you want, if they don't already pay cash for it. So that is why they don't have to worry about that. Their entire goal is to pay the least amount of taxes as possible. That makes sense. All of you would do the same if you made that kind of money. I don't make that kind of money, and I do the same, and I make pretty good money, but I don't do, I'm not trying to pay the most amount. So let's take a good numbers example, since I think the best way to show people what I mean by this is to just break it down in numbers. Let's say that your company did $300,000 or $400,000 in sales, and you made $100,000 in profit, right? 100 grand. So we have that 100 grand here. And the IRS says, okay, based on your tax bracket and your standard deductions, all this, you owe us $30,000 in taxes. And you're like, oh man, okay, I owe you $30,000. Well, I spent a bunch of money on materials and equipment and lights and cameras and computers. I spent all this money all year round. I made this 100 grand and I spent 60,000. I only need to live off of, let's say 50. I only live off 50 grand. My bills are only 4,000 a month. So I live off that, and the other 50 grand, I reinvested it into my company, right? I took that 50 grand, I put it back in the company. I bought lights and cameras and computers and all that good stuff. So the IRS goes, sweet, you spent $50,000 in expenses. That's deductions. Well, the IRS doesn't give you 100% of what you spent. You don't get 50,000 off your tax bill because you spent 50. You get a percentage, and every category is a different percentage. Materials versus equipment, versus your mileage write-off. Remember, you get miles too. Your home office. These are all different percentages of the amount that you spend. You're not going to get 100%. It doesn't work that way. So out of the 50,000, let's say that the IRS says, well, we're going to give you 50%, 25 grand in deductions. Well, they already told you owe them 30,000. Now you've taken 25,000 in deductions, and now you only owe the IRS $5,000. You made 100 grand in profit. You did 300,000 in sales on 100 grand in profit and only owe the IRS $5,000. Do you see how that works? All those deductions, if you're reinvesting into your business, is great. If you made 100 grand and you kept it all for yourself and you went and blown it on alcohol and dinners and Ferraris, that's not deductible, and so you're going to owe your full $30,000 because you didn't put it back into work for you in the business. So let's take a bigger example of a Jeff Bezos. Let's say that Amazon made $5 billion in profits. I don't know what the number is, totally pulled that out of thin air. And out of the $5 billion, Amazon decided, well, they're capped out. Let's say that they owe, 50% is $2.5 billion. Let's say they owe $2 billion in taxes. But Amazon spent $3 billion buying new buildings and new airplanes and new vans and hiring new people and all this stuff. So they owe the IRS $2 billion, but they spent $3 billion, and the IRS goes, well, we're going to go ahead and give you a $2 billion credit on the $3 billion you reinvested. Well, we owe $2 billion, IRS, and you just gave us a $2 billion deduction credit. Boom. Amazon owes zero, right? Zero. Sometimes it's even a bigger number than that they get deducted, and they should be getting money back. They don't, but they get to take that deduction because there's caps and all. So that's how Amazon ends up not paying any money. Well, how do they make $5 billion and don't owe any money? Just like that, right? That's how Trump does it too. His numbers aren't as big as Amazon. They're not as small as me, but same thing. 100 million, 200 million, 300 million. He spends 150, caps out at owing 150, boom, percentages. It ends up to the point where he doesn't owe any money. And you can be outraged over this and say, that's not fair. It works towards the rich. It does. The tax laws work towards the rich. And it doesn't work towards the rich in the theory of it works towards the people that have the most money. It works towards the businesses and people that spend and reinvest the most money back into their business. So yeah, he makes a lot of money and that makes you rich, sort of, but you dump it all back into the company and that gives you legal write-offs. Also, there's, things like Trump has golf courses and hotels that have, maybe they drop in value by a couple $1,000,000, deductions in, the decrease in evaluations and assessments, those can help tax bills. There's all kinds of things that he can do that people like me can do, just not at that level, that get your tax bill down to nothing. Now, I saw another line item right before I came on here on this video, that he spent $70,000 on haircuts and hairstyles during the year. And people are all up in arms about this, okay? And let me explain this to you guys. So let's take an average American. Let's take Kate, my fiance. She may spend $200 or $300 to get her hair done, right? And she may do that every couple of months, 3 months, 4 months, 2 months, 3 months. I don't know how often she gets it done, just whenever. And so over the course of the year, she spends $1,000 or $1,200 with the tips, right? You give this hair salon girl $20 or $30, I don't know, $40. Ends up being $1,200, $1,300 over the course of the year. You got a normal married couple, guy gets haircuts and stuff. I don't have to go for that, but you may end up spending $1,500 during the course of the year on a normal married couple. If you have kids, you may, taking them in for their $10 haircut, every other month. That's, 2 kids, that ends up being $100, $200 a year. So it's easy to see somebody at a normal human being spending, $1,500 or $2,000 a year on hair care and styling and shampoos and stuff. Well, Donald Trump is not a normal human American family. He's a celebrity with a brand that has to upkeep a certain image. And I know people make fun of his hair and it is kind of funny and you should make fun of it, but that has somebody who professionally does that. That's not somebody who's giving him a haircut for $30. That's somebody who's charging $100, $200, $300, $400 to do a haircut for him every month. That's how it quickly adds up to $5,000 and $10,000. Oh, by the way, some of his stylists travel with him, and so there's travel expenses. He could easily spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year on a stylist. So why $70,000? Well, I imagine that bill pays for his wife. His wife is a former supermodel, right? Melania, isn't she a supermodel by trade? She probably gets her hair done every week. He's probably paying for his daughters. Does he not have 2 daughters, Ivanka and what's the other one? I can't remember the other one's name, the younger one, Ivanka and the other one. He's also probably paying for his sons. He's got Don Jr., he's got Eric, he's got Barron. So he's got 5 kids that probably benefit from that hairstyling bill. He's forking the bill for all of these people. Of course he is. Part of his deduction, but why? Why is it allowed to be deducted as a hairstyle? They are a brand. Trump Incorporated is a brand, and keeping up the Trump look is deductible in the eyes of the IRS. It's legal. Call your CPA and ask them. Show them this video. I promise you, certain things are legal that you would never imagine being legal. Do we agree with them? Well, sort of, depending on your brand. Let's take somebody. Who else has a really well-known, physical feature, hair, makeup, eyes, I don't know, besides models? The Kardashians have a look. All that makeup and styling, I guarantee it's tax deductible for them, right? Put down in the comments, who's somebody that has a really noticeable hairstyle or a noticeable something that they always have to have a certain way, otherwise you wouldn't even recognize them as a celebrity. That's all deductible. Let's take gurus like, a Grant Cardone that drives around in a $400,000 Rolls Royce. That Rolls Royce is deductible because he's a marketing guru who is made to be successful, and he has to look successful. He has to look the part. He has to drive the part. He has to have all of this stuff. It's the way it works. It's the way these tax laws were made. And remember, these were the mid-90s, during the time when the economy was through the roof during the Clinton era. And people were making new tax laws, and people were making all kinds of money, and they needed tax deductions. And the Democrats, under Bill Clinton, created a lot of these tax laws. There are other ones that have come and gone before and after, but a lot from his time in office. So I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, or who to like, or who not to like. I'm here to tell you guys 3 things. We are not tax attorneys, accountants, CPAs, or IRS agents doing Donald Trump's taxes. None of us have any idea what's going on. So that's number 1. Number 2, these laws are legal. They're loopholes that every single successful business owner, people with far more money than Donald Trump, have taken advantage of, and people with far less money, including myself, have absolutely used these tax laws to our benefits. It's just the way it is. You hire a CPA that knows these laws and you've got it made. That's number 2. Number 3 is that you absolutely should be trying to pay the least amount of taxes that you can legally. And I'm not saying that because I want to hurt the country or not give the taxes, but we pay property taxes and sales tax and federal tax and payroll tax and social security tax and this tax and that tax, and I think we're taxed to death. And so any break that you can get, I absolutely am all for getting. And if our president did it legally, and remember, this was before he was president, so if he did it legally, cheers to him. If he broke the law, I think he would be in jail already, because remember, he's been under a constant audit since before he became president. We're talking all the way back to 2000. They're talking 15 years on that. So that's 2005, way before he was president. In fact, he was under audit during the Obama time. And back during George Bush's time, Bush 2. So if he had done something illegal, the IRS has no qualms about putting people in jail. You've seen it. Wesley Snipes and Martha Stewart and Mike the Situation for Jersey Shore, they've all gone to jail for, tax evasion and all this different stuff. They've got no problem putting Donald Trump in jail before he was president. Once he becomes president, it becomes a little harder. But they had their chance. If he had done it illegally, I think they would have. So that's why I have confidence that what he's done is legal. It may not be admirable. It may not be the best course of action, and we may not agree with it, and we don't have to. But the law is the law, and that's what we have to go off of. Now, with that said, I don't know. And if it comes out that he did do something illegal and he cheated the tax system, which we will have to wait and see, then yeah, he should be punished for it, because I have to pay my taxes. I have to go by the straight and narrow and go along the line. The IRS watches me. I come out here on videos and put it out there for you guys. So I have to follow what I'm saying, because they're looking at me, I promise you. But if he didn't, then he should be punished, president or not. You can't just get away with not paying taxes or using laws that aren't legal. So we'll have to wait and see. Please wait to hold judgment. But I do want to find out what happened and find out the truth. We'll see. I mean, maybe the taxes will be released for the public. My fear with that is if they release it to the public, most people aren't going to understand that. I don't understand my own tax half the time. I do my own and I have a CPA check them. It's still really confusing. All of it's very confusing to me. I understand it. I get it. I know how to do it, but it just doesn't add up all the time to me. So for a normal human, me or any of you to look at Donald Trump's 1,000-page tax returns, we're not going to understand it anyways, right? We're going to have no idea what's going on. So it would take professional CPAs and auditors to take a look at that outside of that and let us know if it looks on the up and up. So, all right, that's what I wanted to say on this. No politics. I mean, this is obviously very political. I hate to do it, but it's important for you guys as business owners to understand that there are tax deductions and laws that are there to help you lower your taxable liability. And any good CPA will be able to help you. Our businesses are very basic. We deduct shipping materials and cell phone, business use and internet use and boxes and bubble wrap and cost of goods, and we're done. Like, that's pretty much it. There's a few other things, but it's nothing complicated like, those big time Bezos and Trump tax returns. So, all right, don't kill me. Don't shoot the messenger. Just passing the news and the messages along to you. Feel free to comment in the comments section. I'm a little scared to see that, but I guess I got to read them. So thank you guys for understanding. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I don't care who you vote for. Just vote. Don't judge me or judge each other on who you're voting for. You can still be friends. You can still hang out. You can still resell and still chat in the groups. Let's not attack each other. Let's discuss the topic without being insanos. Okay, until next time, have a wonderful afternoon. I thank you guys once again. This is Casey the Rockstar Flipper, Monday, September 28th, 2020, signing off.